Good afternoon, family, friends, and guests. Today we will be doing a pick card reading on the topic of why the relationship failed. And this reading is mostly going to be geared towards romantic relationships, but it may resonate with some platonic ones as well. After we see why the relationship failed, we'll be taking a look at the quote unquote blind spot in the relationship, and then we'll get into some ways to cope with the loss of it. So we'll take the time and choose one of these piles, either 1, 2, or 3, and then we'll get into the message. All right, so pile number 1, you've got the Page of Wands, the Star, and the Knight of Pentacles. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to refer to the masculine energy as he and the feminine energy as she. Just keep in mind this is a general reading, which is meant for multiple people, so in some cases the roles may be reversed. So pile number 1, what I'm seeing here is that the masculine energy was the one that did most of the pursuing in the beginning. I can see that he had this idea that it was going to be a very simple relationship, but it's like he planted these seeds expecting a flower bed, and instead he got a tree that shot up out of the ground so fast that he got tangled up in the branches of it. So when things started getting serious, it took him by surprise. When this happened, it caused him to retreat into himself. It caused him to feel like his ego was threatened. You may have noticed this person go from being like super outgoing to being more reclusive and more cautious. In some cases, not wanting to give definite answers to big decisions because they're afraid to be wrong. I think they really underestimated the feminine energy in this relationship. I'm saying that the feminine energy is being represented by the unicorn. You know, unicorns are very unique creatures. So the feminine energy is a person that's like one in a million. They're one of a kind. But in this circumstance, she is carrying the masculine. And if you look at that Knight of Pentacles card, you'll see that there's a man sitting on the back of the unicorn, and he doesn't even have shoes on. And what that tells me is that he doesn't plan on walking. The feminine energy in this relationship may be used to carrying their partners, but this is also part of why this relationship didn't work out. It's because the masculine energy was afraid of their ego being bruised, so they became reclusive and defensive, and then they were relying on the feminine energy to carry them through. And this is to the point to where if something happened to that unicorn, that man would not be able to carry that horse. So if you're the feminine energy, this relationship did not work because, for one, your partner underestimated you. The relationship was not what they envisioned it to be. And the feminine energy was so much more balanced and strong than the masculine that it hurt their ego. Yep, this is indeed a case of two people being on two very different levels in life. Let's take a look at the next set of cards here. All right, so we've got the Ace of Arrows, the Six of Vessels, and the Ace of Stones. This set of cards will be in reference to something that you didn't recognize was taking place in the relationship. So with the Ace of Arrows, again, I'm seeing that when the relationship was made official and it became too much for that masculine energy, they began seeking ways out of the relationship. The smoke coming up from that card is almost like some type of SOS signal. Maybe they went out with their friends a lot, or asked for advice a lot, or were just finding ways to avoid being around when important decisions were having to be made. This person may have claimed to have a lot going on or important things they had to handle just so that they didn't have to be around as much. And they may have been super defensive about what it was that they were doing if the events were happening at the same time where you needed assistance from them. And this was taking place because of their ego. You know, what I'm seeing on that Ace of Stones card, the one all the way to the right, is that they're not even in the picture. It's like they're hiding behind their assets or the material things they have. And it looks like they're doing this because they're afraid of embarrassing themselves. They just don't have that confidence to make decisions on the level that is required of them. And you know, it's not that this person is a bad person. It really just boils down to a self-confidence issue and the fact that you guys may be alike. You may have a lot of the same interests, a lot of things in common. You may be able to hang out and have a good time. But when it really comes down to where you guys are at internally, they just can't meet you there. They're lacking in that area. So that's what I'm seeing here as far as what was hidden from you in the relationship. It's the fact that the masculine figure in this relationship was really searching for a way out because they were overwhelmed. They were hiding behind their material things and their assets in order to escape some type of embarrassment. And really, it would be them embarrassing themselves, them not living up to everything that they portrayed themselves to be. So if your partner was really defensive and you just could not get a hold of them when you needed them or get their help with making certain decisions, or they would even become easily frustrated when it came down to making big decisions, and this is why. They didn't expect the relationship to be what it was. They didn't expect it to be a challenge to them. They didn't expect you to be more successful than they were. And it even got to a point to where they were becoming jealous. This person couldn't stand feeling like they were living in your shadow. So let's look at some advice cards here. Okay, so you have the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits, soul tribe, and you have don't dim to fit in. So with the Great Gathering and the don't dim to fit in, that's just, it's confirming that this person just was not on your level. This is somebody that you would have to carry along with you. You know, you would really have to put an effort to make up for their shortcomings and even tone down your own potential. If you were to have stayed with this person, you would have had to dim to fit in. You would not have been able to fully celebrate and enjoy your success in life because this is the type of person that would downplay your achievements. This is the type of person that would bring you low when you should be lifted up. And they will never be able to fully appreciate how much effort you have put into your accomplishments. But you know, what you need to realize is that there are people out there that are capable of supporting themselves and being genuinely supportive of you. Whether you realize it or not, there are people in your life that you can call on that will understand exactly where you're coming from and they will be willing to lend you a hand. You know, I understand that the loss of any relationship is difficult, but you should never have to be less than who you are in order to make somebody else comfortable with being with you. And the only thing that this person was doing for you was cutting down on your potential. and they were holding you back. It may hurt now, but I assure you, you are more than capable of finding a partner that is worthy of you and somebody that can actually help you when you need help and give you the support that you deserve. All right, pile number one, that's all I've got for you today. Hope that you enjoyed that. Like, share, and subscribe, and return for more videos. Right, pile number two, you guys got the Six of Pentacles, the World, and the Death card. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to refer to the masculine energy as he and the feminine energy as she. Just keep in mind this is a general reading, which is meant for multiple people, so in some cases the roles may be reversed. So pile number two, what I'm seeing here is two very different people. You've got one person that's very conservative, reserved. Everything has to be done a certain way. Everything has to be lined up and planned. Every penny has to be counted. Everything has to be accounted for. When things are spoken of, they must be spoken of in a certain way. It's very, very restrictive, politically correct type of energy. And this person is very serious, and this person typically has a serious demeanor. Then the other person in the relationship is quite the opposite. This person is outgoing, wants to have fun, wants to go out, wants to explore, wants to listen to music, dance, be out with friends, be social, and go with the flow, not plan much, just have fun in life. Now, the individual that was more outgoing may have felt like they had to put that fun, wild side of them to death in order to be with this person. It's so intense, in fact, that they even change the way that they dress and the way that they present themselves, the way that they behave. It's like they're not even the same person anymore. So with this relationship, you have a clash of personalities. The more reserved person in this relationship may enjoy and be very attracted to how outgoing and full of energy and excitement. They really enjoy that, but it's like they only want it for themselves. It's like once the relationship was solidified, they didn't want that side that they admired so much to be shared with anybody else. And so the more reserved person may feel content in the relationship, but the more outgoing person in the relationship feels like they've lost a part of themselves. And that is why this relationship did not work, because somebody wasn't allowed to be who they are. They had to become a completely different person in order to be in the relationship. And nobody should have to do that. If somebody can't accept you for who you are, then they weren't looking for you in the first place. Now let's look at what was hidden from you while you were in the relationship. Okay, you've got the Woodward, the King of Stones, the Wolf, and the Wanderer. Yeah, that more reserved energy in the relationship. This person was like a hunter. It's like they see traits in people that they want to have for themselves, and so they set out to take those traits from that person. They may not even know that they do this, but it's exactly what they're doing. They find somebody that they're really attracted to, certain energies that they're attracted to, and then they take those qualities from the person, and it leaves them with nothing. So it's like the longer that you're with this person, whatever they see in you that they like, they take it from you. And it's like the longer that you stay with this person, the more you lose yourself. You know, there's a stark contrast between the man on the left and the individual on the right that's walking away. The person on the right is dressed in rags. They hardly have anything. And the person on the left, they're covered in animal furs. It's a very interesting energy dynamic. For some of you, I'm even seeing that you like to sing, but then it's like once you got with this person, you may not even feel like doing that anymore. So what you didn't realize was that they were taking your traits from you. So let's get into the advice cards and see what we've got there for you. Okay, so the advice cards, we've got boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? And starseed, what lights you up? You know, you look at that boundaries card and you see all these hands reaching for the woman in the center. It reminds me of that energy, that reserved energy that's just trying to take from their partner constantly. Setting boundaries is definitely the optimal way to deal with somebody that's infringing upon who you are. And that's what this relationship that you had was all about. It's about opening your eyes to what you're allowing your partners to do to you. You should never have to change yourself in order to be in a relationship. And of course, I mean this in a practical way. If there are bad habits that you have, then those must be fixed. But when it comes to your personality, you should never have to change that. You should never have to give up the things that you love. You know, in the Starseed card, it says what lights you up. What are the things that make you happy? You shouldn't have to give those up for anybody. And it looks like the relationship that failed because this person wanted you to become somebody that you are not. So the loss of this relationship was really for your highest good, because it's going to allow you to see where you should have set boundaries. It's going to allow you to understand how much control over your life you're allowing your partners to have. So just keep in mind that if there are certain things that you enjoy doing and you were doing them before you got in the relationship, you know, things such as having a girls' night out or dressing a certain way, your partner should be able to respect you for who you are and not require you to change that for them. But definitely pay more attention to yourself and what makes you happy, and set boundaries to protect those things. Set boundaries to protect your ideals. Right, pile number 2, that's all I've got for you. Like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to return for more videos. All right, pile number 3. Looks like you've got the World card, the Ace of Chalices, and the Two of Chalices. For the sake of simplicity, I will be referring to the masculine energies as he and the feminine energies as she. Just keep in mind that this is a general reading. It's meant for multiple people, so in some cases those roles may be reversed. So pile number 3, what I'm seeing is that you and your partner both want to be together. The reason that this relationship failed is because of outside circumstances getting in the way. You know, any and everything that could get in the way did get in the way. And this could be anything. It could be religious beliefs. It could be family members. It could be friends. It could be that you or the other person or both of you are already in relationships or perhaps even married. But this relationship failed, most likely didn't even get off the ground because of any and everything that could get between these two people. I'm seeing that if things were different and all of those responsibilities and people and careers and whatever else has gotten in between you guys, if all of that was non-existent, that this would be a very happy relationship, because I think that these two people have true love for each other and they want nothing more than to share it with each other. But it seems like there are more complications than can be worked through at this time. Now, this doesn't mean that it'll always be that way. In fact, you know, we all have free will. There are things that could be disregarded in order to make this relationship a reality. But both people have to be willing to take the steps towards that. And you know, every circumstance is going to be different. So some people may have family members that need them to take care of them. Some people may be married already and may not be willing to leave that relationship in order to pursue something new. Some people may want to put their finances first in order to be more stable. But whatever the case, it's just not possible at this time for this relationship to work. Now, for some of you, it is a possibility, but one person is not willing because of the things that they have going on in their lives. It's already too much for them to keep up with. They have nothing left to give. For some of you, this is a soulmate connection, and meeting this person was meant to trigger a lot of growth. But unfortunately, just was not the right time for you guys to actually be together. So let's look at the next set of cards, which is going to be in reference to what you didn't see was going on during this relationship. All right, pile number 3, got balance, the 8 of vessels or rebirth, and the forest lovers. What you may not have realized during this connection is that this person thought a lot about the connection. It weighed on them very heavily, but they feel stuck. They feel like there's nothing that they can do to move towards it. And it's depressing. It's really, really depressing for them because they do see the connection, but there's always something standing in between the two of you. You know, it's funny, we had the 2 of vessels in the first cards that we drew, and now we've got the forest lovers. And with the forest lovers, you'll see that there's a red ribbon that ties them together, but still there's a freaking tree in between them. These two people perfectly match each other, and if they could get to a point to where they were both able to be with each other, then they would both be very happy. But one person in this connection is, like I said before, feeling like they are just completely stuck. The foundation of something else is keeping them from moving in any direction. And this really burdens them emotionally because sometimes they feel like all they can do is watch and admire from afar. Let's get into the advice cards and see what they have to say about this situation. So you've got get grounded, empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature, and warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? So with the get grounded card, that's pretty self-explanatory. Some of you are empaths and it's easy to get tangled up in other people's emotions. Then you have to sit there and sort through yours and theirs. So be sure to take the steps to get grounded. Get out of the house some, go out in nature. Just because the connection didn't go exactly how you thought it would doesn't mean that it's a waste. Doesn't mean it's a waste of your time or their time. And with the Warrior Woman card, there are some of you that need to fight for the connection and fight for what you want. And there are some of you that need to take a more defensive stance and defend yourself from that connection. But either way, if you do meditate on it, it'll be clear which stance is going to be better for you to take up in order to progress within yourself. All right, pile number 3, that's all I've got for you. Hope you enjoyed that. Like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to return for more readings.